Hi, Chant and Marcia. I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming in. It was such a pleasure to meet with you. And I kind of wanted to bullet point just a couple things that we had actually talked about, just so you would have it fresh in your mind. When we were talking, the one thing that was coming out pretty clear was that although you did understand that you were in accumulation phase and the mindset of being in accumulation phase, it is now time to start trying to transition yourself into more of a preservation of your principal and distribution if you would need to access funds. But currently, we know that that's not the situation. So, the biggest factor is everything that you have is in the market and at risk at this point. So, as we were talking, one of the things after you left that I had thought about. I don't know if I made it as clear as I should have probably made it, but how you could make this transition happen is please understand that you don't have to take those taxable hits like right now. You could actually transfer assets doing a rollover, a direct rollover into a different custodial account, which would be if you transition money out of the market over into like what we talked about, a fixed indexed annuity, so that you're still get that indexing in the market, you're still getting growth in the market, but you're also not taking it as a distribution at this point, so you don't have the taxable event. Although we did talk about you probably do need to look at that a little bit, that this is your year to do some converting. So it might be wise to take a portion of money and go ahead and convert that money over, pay the taxes on it. And that way you either convert it over into a Roth and then later, take the distribution on it as you see fit, or you could literally cash some money out of the market and pay the taxes on it and do whatever you want with that money at that point. As we kind of talked about, everything's up in arms when it comes to IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, kind of what's going on for the taxation of what they're thinking. But I wanted you to really understand that right now, today, and in the coming weeks, you could transition that money over by direct transfer into some of the products that I talked about and take that money and secure it and protect that principal. The big question is, how much do you want to protect and how much do you want to leave at risk? When we talked a little bit, it kind of came out you had a 25, 25, 50 chant. I haven't seen Marcia's risk and analyzer come back yet from On Point, but hopefully you got that. If you didn't, please let me know, because I'd be really curious to see kind of where she came out at. But I just kind of wanted to cover that a little bit again, because I know I talk about so much stuff in our meeting that sometimes it becomes your head starts spinning. And I know, Marcia, you were taking frivolous notes, and I'm so glad that you were, but I hope that this will help it make sense a little bit more. So really at this point, the decision is how much assets do you want to protect from losses in the market? And then we decide from there, which products make the most sense for you. Is it more of a growth product, or do we create one that creates a guaranteed lifetime income stream for you that you'll never outlive and that will still transfer to a different beneficiary in the event that something happens to you? So I hope that helps. And we did also talk a little bit about long-term care and not necessarily traditional long-term care, but the hybrids that we have out here that you could protect yourself in the event that you get into that kind of a situation where maybe it's critical illness or chronic, or it could even be terminal. Heaven forbid, we don't want any of those things to happen, but to go in prepared and section off pieces of those assets. And all of that can be done from still keeping it all tax-free transfers and putting that stuff in place. So the only time the taxes are going to come into play is when you're actually taking distribution. And as all the products that I work with, when it comes down to you, if you keep it into an IRA status, then once you get to the point that you are required to take those required minimum distributions, there are no fees on that as well. So there's no penalties, no fees for that. That would automatically be able to be taken regardless of how we structure the actual policy itself. So I hope that helps a little bit. I just wanted to kind of go back and give you some reminders, tell you thank you so much for coming in. It was such a pleasure sitting and chatting with you guys. I just really enjoy the two of you and value your points of view. and what you're doing in your life and giving back. So I wish you the best in whatever decisions you make. Please call me if you have any questions. And on top of it all, I hope that you have a very happy Thanksgiving. God bless.